So, but hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining. I'm super excited to be leading this interview with Joy today. Before we get started, just some quick housekeeping. If you have any questions, we're going to leave some time at the end. These are usually about 30 minutes. We're going to leave some time at the end for Q&A. So just post your comment in the chat or the Q&A box, and we'll be able to see it. Also, we are recording this. So again, I'll put this up on Facebook Live and on YouTube, and we'll make sure to share it with everyone afterwards. So for anyone who is new, Work Bigger is an online community and mentorship program, and I'm Belma McCaffrey. I'm the founder, and our mission is to help ambitious, high-potential professionals find the right career path so that you can love your work and also make a difference in the world. Last year, we started interviewing mission-driven women on the blog, and we call this the Work Bigger Story Series. And the goal is really to showcase their stories, and what they're doing is they're either launching their own companies, aligning with other organizations that are mission driven, or they're redefining work and making work for them. I'm super excited today to interview Joy, and just a little bit about her. Joy is a freelance marketing consultant and a personal finance trainer at the Financial Gym. She has an advertising background, so she spent several years in the advertising world, but recently left to create a more geo-independent career. And she's really focused on creating a redefining work for herself. So I think we can all learn so much about how she's gotten here. So welcome, Joy. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So one thing I want to get started, why don't you just give us some background on who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Joy. Like Belma said, I worked overseas for the start of my career. For 5 years, I was living in New York City, working at big agencies, small agencies, on brands that you probably recognize. So coming out of school as an advertising major, I thought I was living the dream until the grass is always greener on the other side. So then last July I got married, and my husband's a Marine in the United States Marine Corps. So I needed to figure out how to become more geo-independent because I still wanted to continue my career momentum. And I didn't feel like the traditional military spouse lifestyle was going to work for me. So I started trying to figure out either how I could make my job at the agency a remote position, or finding something else to do that would allow me to work from home. So I was able to achieve that. So about 2 months ago, I moved to North Carolina to live with my husband. So we spent the first almost year of our marriage long distance. But we finally get to be together, and I joined a startup called the Financial Gym. And I kind of embraced my personal passion for managing personal finances and made that into a paying job for me that I get to do from home. And I also was able to leverage and keep my connections that I made networking in New York City and keep some consulting jobs. So I do a number of things, whether it's marketing, managing, with former clients who have now kept me on as a consultant. And I also help develop corporate trainings for things that I'm passionate about, like millennial talent and women in the workplace, and all things that I'm passionate about. So that's what I do now.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So one thing I want to highlight is you said the military spouse lifestyle was not something that would work for you. Can you share a little bit about what that lifestyle looks like, and then also some of the steps you've taken to identify that doesn't work for you, and then make those changes for what does work?
Yeah, so I think the military is such a small subculture of American life these days. So it's it's a really tight-knit community, but most women, most spouses tend to be really young. My husband decided to enlist in the Marine Corps kind of later in life, where most of his peers joined right out of high school. We met in college, so he joined at the age of 25. So we just have different lifestyles, and we're in different life stages from his peers and colleagues. And they're 18, 19, 20. They too have wives at different stages of life. So typically, because the lifestyle requires you to move around a lot to different duty stations, it's hard for spouses to maintain careers. A lot of them at this stage are in school and they're trying to obtain certifications and degrees. But the wide majority of them end up being full-time moms, which there's nothing wrong with that. It was something that I'm decidedly not ready for, and I'll have children down the road, but I wanted to keep my career momentum up.
Yeah, that's really fascinating, I think, to just hear about the different lifestyles of military wives and what that is. What I was reading your website, and what really stood out to me was where you wrote that you're dedicated, or that your mission is dedicated to pursuing remote working opportunities to extend career trajectory, regardless of geographical location. Would you say that this experience of having your husband join the military is what pushed you to identify that mission?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I might have come across it without that, but it would have been later on. I really loved living in New York City. I had never really planned on leaving this soon, or at all. So this experience of getting married to someone in the military really did push me towards that. As a side note too, my mom, she's a bit of a tiger mom, and when I told her initially that I was going to do this, she automatically jumped to the negative things about military spouse, of being stuck on base with babies and nothing to do. And so that was more motivation, because I needed to prove to her that that wasn't going to be the case, and that I knew what I was doing. So that further pushed my mission to continue my career and not have to live in New York City to do that.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. I want to talk a little bit now about what your day-to-day looks like. Can you share what a typical day is like for you, and the struggles that tend to come up, especially when you are working from home, which I know isn't always easy?
Yeah, so I'm still kind of new to this. I've been doing it for just about 2 months now. But what I would, just from knowing other people in my network who work from home, I've luckily learned a lot from them. So I do try to keep a structured schedule to the best of my abilities. So recently I've started working out more. So that was something I never could find the time to do when I lived in New York. But my husband wakes up at 5 in the morning. So that helps me wake up shortly after that, so I can get my day going and do some things for myself before I get in front of the computer. So typically I'll exercise. I'm trying to learn how to meditate. And I eat a balanced breakfast every morning, and I take my dog out for a walk all before 9. At 9, I try to be in front of the computer in the home office, checking email and trying to sort out what my tasks are for the day. Juggling my consulting work and the work that I do at the financial gym. My calendar looks my calendar's filled with different things. So one day I might be meeting with individual clients with the financial gym. I learn about their lives and what they're trying to achieve, what their financial pain points might be. And then from there, I'll create fully custom plans for them. So a lot of my day is spent talking to them and creating the plans. Additionally, I also spend time following up with other clients who already have their plans, and I check in with them as their accountability buddy, as part of being their trainer. So I check in, see how everything's going. For the consulting work that I do, that's what I've been struggling with lately, is trying to carve out time to do the deep work or get into a creative mind space where I'm writing content, writing presentations, and things that require a lot of creativity and deep thought. Has been challenging to try to find in my day. I'm used to doing those types of things later at night, but that would require me to work all hours, and I just don't have to. So I'm trying to rewire my habits and my brain to allow me to do more creative work during the day, because I have the time to do so.
Yeah, I hear from so many other women in the community that finding time to do the deep work is a big struggle. One thing that's helped me, because I still work at the AP part-time and I'm running Work Bigger, so balancing those two things also requires a lot of juggling. But I try as much as I can to prioritize the deep work before anything else, and to, even if it's for half an hour, and that could even be during my commute, which might sound strange. And I know you're not really commuting now anymore. So, maybe it could be, I don't know, I'm kind of making this up, but thinking whenever you are able to get in the zone. So if it's super early in the morning, like before you work out, just finding those gaps and leveraging them as much as you can, I found is super helpful. And then eventually you start to build a habit of prioritizing the deep work more and more, because I agree, I think it's so important. And I also think that more deep work, creative work is also so fulfilling, right? And I think it's where we can really strategize and think about our big vision and what it is that we want to accomplish. And then the other tasks are mostly execution, which are important too, obviously. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that because that really resonates with me, and I know many others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also I want to ask about your consulting work and then the financial gym. Can you share a little bit about how those are connected, if at all?
So I'd say that I started consulting mostly out of necessity. So I had a full-time job with an agency, and it's a small agency. So I was, obviously you can't hide the fact that you got married. So I was transparent about my situation, and and I was talking about my mission too. I was talking about how I need to find remote work, and like we're trying to figure out ways to keep me here. But if that doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. It didn't work out. So I ended up I was given an end date at my full-time job 2 months before before I needed to move just yet. So I spent 2 months, I spent 3 months in New York City, fun employed, I call. So during that time, that's when I really started my consulting practice, really just out of necessity for making income during that time. And it pushed me into something that I always wanted to do. I always thought I would be a good entrepreneur or self-employed. So that was the best opportunity to kind of dive in and jump into it. From there, I was able to find a full-time salaried position with the financial gym, which I'm really grateful for, because it's a small company and they've taken a chance on hiring me as employee number 5. But from there, as I've gotten more into doing financial plans for other people, a lot of my advice, especially for those who have big goals for life, is they need to make more income. And part of my plans are helping them discover ways that they can create more income, whether that's asking for a raise at their current job, finding side hustles, or additional streams of revenue. So for me, how I continue or stay motivated to continue to do consulting work is I consider it as my side hustle now, because I have have goals, and I want to be able to reach them, and I feel like I should be earning more than I would with just a regular salary.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's how the two
absolutely.
connect.
No, I love it. I want to talk a little bit more about your work as a financial planner because congratulations. I think it's amazing that you're a part of the Financial Gym. They're a great company. Can you share, I guess, just tips or advice on how we can all balance, like what we should know about our finances when embarking on that freelance career, and how do you balance needing stability with also wanting to pursue your big goals and big dreams?
Yeah, so I'd have to say, back when I lost my job in March, what gave me a lot of peace of mind about the whole situation was that I had my emergency fund fully saved. So I had $10,000 saved for my emergency savings, just for exactly for in the event that I would lose a job or anything that would happen. I had that safety net to fall back on. Luckily, I didn't have to tap into it. I was able to start making income pretty shortly after I lost my job, but just the peace of mind of knowing that it was there was really helpful. So I would say that's my biggest piece of advice for anyone who's looking to make the leap into starting their own business or leaving a full-time job, is making sure you really built the habit of saving your income to the point where you have this full safety net saved up. So I think no matter how much we're earning, no matter what part of our career we're in, we should be in the habit of saving at least 15% of our gross income, no matter what. That should go towards your emergency savings, and then from there, you've already gotten used to parting with that money. So then that's where you should be investing it or finding other places to put that money. So that's my biggest piece of advice is saving, which is not very sexy, but it's very important.
I'm going to dig into the savings a little bit deeper because you're right. I feel like that is the key to having that financial wealth and being able to achieve your goal, making sure that we always have that safety net. Any tips that will help us make saving a little bit more sexy or easier?
Yeah. So I think automating it is really helpful. So the same kind of creating the 401k effect for your savings, where it comes out of your paycheck without you even thinking about it, and setting up automatic transfers for when it comes in helps motivate you, and it helps already create the space in your budget to do so because it's not sitting in your checking account. So that's the first tip. There's a lot of apps out there and fads out there to try and help make this topic a little sexier, but ultimately the concept is simple, right? It's very closely tied to your physical fitness, your financial fitness. So the key to physical health is eating less and working out more. And the key to financial health is spending less and making more. And there's a ton of tools to help make those different aspects a little bit easier for you. But at the end of the day, the concept still stays the same.
Yeah. Which tools or platforms did you say are your favorite to use?
So I personally, I came to the Financial Gym as a LearnVest client first, and they invited me to come in for more like consumer research, and then I joined the team. So I still use the LearnVest tools that are available to me right now because it's residual from being a member there. And it's very similar to Mint, but I like the interface a little bit more.
Yeah.
But Mint is still a great one. Any of those that can help track your spending and you can see the categories, it helps you be more engaged in the process of spending. especially with credit cards and debit cards, and that being the primary way that we spend money today. I think studies say that our brains literally shut off when we swipe the card. So it just helps bring mindfulness to where the money's going. Again, there's other apps that help that isolate different aspects of your financial health. So like Acorns or Digit, those are tools to help you automatically save. But again, you don't have to have those tools either. You can build that in. That function is built into your bank account too. So it's all of those are just extra frosting on top. It doesn't change the actual behavior of saving money at the end of the day.
Yeah, I use Betterment. And I've found, and I like it because it just feels really easy too. And then I've heard Ellevest is another good one, which is I believe it's for women only.
Yeah, so the robo-advisors are great. It's a great way to get started with investing. It's very millennial friendly, transparent, like you know what the fees are right up front, and you're able to adjust it by goals, which is great. Goals-based saving is also helpful, is knowing the target and what you're trying to do. If it's a vacation, if it's early retirement, all of those things become much more motivating to save towards and keep the money in there because you know it's going to a specific thing that you really want. And then the hardest thing about getting started with investing is having money to invest. So I'd say once you've gotten into the habit of saving a percentage of your income and your emergency savings is funded, then you should be going to those robo-advisors or low fee investing vehicles to put your money so it can start growing a little bit more. I have to go a little bit of a tangent on on Betterment versus Ellevest. I have to say I'm a little disappointed in Ellevest because they're charging a pink tax on us for being women. Their fee is double what Betterment and Wealthfront is, which is more designed for quote unquote men or everybody else essentially. So it's something to keep an eye out for. Ellevest fees are 0.5%. Where Betterment's only 0.25. So at the end of the day, if men are using Betterment and women are using Ellevest, men are still better off than we are. So just
that's really disappointing.
Keep an eye out for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
is. That's not cool.
Sally supports women and has her Elevate network and everything, but at the end of the day, it's still a profit driving machine.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing all of that. We have some questions coming in, which I'm really excited to get to. Jamie has a couple of thoughts. Thank you so much, Jamie, for your comment. First, she wanted to share a comment on the deep work. She said, that's so important to me. I realize that I'm more creative or better at being creative first thing in the morning and try to schedule my day accordingly. Oh my God, I'm so with you on that. But it's totally difficult to jump into the deep work. Yeah, again, I feel like sometimes we just don't prioritize that for ourselves. But one thing that I try to keep in mind is the deep work is the most important work. So I have to prioritize that, even if it's for 30 minutes a day. So just wanted to comment on that. Second, Jamie has a question. She's saying, Joy, I know you're full-time now, but what do you suggest for someone who's full-time freelance as far as savings go? How do you continue with your 401k and keep taxes in mind? Thank you so much for asking that. That's a really good question.
Really good question. So again, no matter what, we should all be in the practice of saving at least 15% of our gross income. So whenever you have invoice payments coming in, I would automatically set aside 30 to 35% for taxes, and then try and put another 15% away into a savings vehicle, whether that's your emergency savings account first, and then retirement and those other things too. Another thing to keep in mind, or at least it's a gym philosophy, which is a little bit different from conventional wisdom in the personal finance space, is we deprioritize saving into a 401k or a retirement fund because that's money that's so far in advance from now. Like, you're not going to need that for decades. for most likely. And what we find is so many people, the advice is to save, save, save into retirement. So everyone's putting their extra money in retirement, which is basically money on the moon. You can't touch it until you're 60. There's penalties and everything like that. So I would say I would prioritize your short-term savings as well as your medium-term. So that would go into a brokerage fund like a Betterment or Fidelity, because that's going to be money that's going to grow your wealth now, and you can tap into it before you're 60, which hopefully you'll be able to reach early retirement and build your wealth there, so you don't have to wait until the legal age of retirement to tap into that money that's yours.
So much of what you just said really resonates with me, because I think the workplace is changing so much that not everyone is going to necessarily retire. So to me, when you talk about prioritizing short-term and midterm savings, it just feels better. It feels like I'm going to enjoy that a lot sooner. And it's true. And I don't think we're all going to be retiring, right? I don't really plan to, because I think
it's an old-fashioned idea.
Yeah, like it's just Tim Ferriss's idea that we take like mini retirements throughout. So leveraging our savings for those periods really resonates.
Mm-hmm.
Christy just has a question. Thank you, Christy. She asks, what are your thoughts on student loans and how to pay it off quicker?
Yeah, so that's the second thing that's a little bit of a departure from conventional wisdom. Our generation is in a quote-unquote student loan crisis, right? We all have it, and it's crippling debt supposedly. But I have to say, student loan debt is far less expensive than credit card debt, or penalties on taking money out from your 401k. So for people who are anxious about the student loans and throwing any extra money to pay them off sooner, I'd say it's probably costing you more by being cash poor, and you've committed all that money back to your student loan provider, but they've already you've already reaped all the benefits from your student loans. You have the degree, right? So what we like to do is try to figure out the most efficient way for you to make your student loan payments. You have them, you're gonna have to pay them. Let's try and not, that shouldn't be the thing that's making you broke every month though. So if you do want to pay it off quicker, then we have clients set up separate savings accounts called their debt repayment account, which is where they carve out the extra money that they would like to put towards their student loans. From there, we have them consistently save towards that and then apply that money, that lump sum, towards the student loans at random periods. That way it affects more of the principal amount of the loan, and you're paying less in interest because they're not expecting that money from you. So if you do insist on getting rid of it sooner, I would try and do it in lump sum payments versus just adding on to your regular payments.
Awesome. Thank you, Joy. And Jamie added to your 401k comment. She said, my mind is blown. I was feeling guilty for putting off my 401k. So helpful.
Yeah, it's just that advice came from baby boomers because they're at the age of retirement, but they didn't save enough to retire. So that's why they're telling everybody else to put money in retirement. But it doesn't have to go towards there. It can, as long as you're saving money, that's the most important thing.
Brilliant. I love it. Yeah, if anyone else has any other questions, feel free to chime in. I have 2 more questions for you. Well, first, how do you see the workplace evolving for consultants and freelancers?
I think it's definitely going to continue to be on the rise. It's so expensive for employers to hold on to full-time employees anymore, and there's a constant need for fresh thinking and innovation in large companies. So I think more and more people are going to go towards experts and short-term consultants and freelancers to help them achieve that. I think I also think that that changes the way that we think about what is quote unquote job security. I think that's already starting to change where a company could let you go for any reason. I especially learned that when I was given my end date, and that no matter who you're working for, you should place your security in your own skill set and what you bring to the table. And you can sell that into a full-time employer or into getting freelance work too. No matter what your skill set and what your brand is, that's going to be the thing that's within your control. And worrying about that versus things that are outside of your control is going to be the mindset shift for the idea of job security.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was about 4 years ago, I just had this epiphany where I said, you know what, it used to be that entrepreneurs or freelancers were the ones who didn't have job security, but I think it's going to be the other way around. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, because I think it's really honing in on what you're good at. I think that helps people in organizations that whether they stay a long time, they're able to work their way up. It's because they know what they're good at. And that's no different for consultants and freelancers. It's more important actually because you have to market your own skills on a more regular basis than if you were a full-time employee.
Yeah, yeah. Last question for you, Joy, unless anyone else has any questions, but what advice do you have for women or men who are looking to redefine work for themselves and become location independent?
I think the two biggest things that really helped me do it was first was the being financially prepared before you make the leap, and having that safety net saved. That gave me the extra confidence to really go after what I was trying to do because I didn't have to worry about paying the bills. And then the second thing is just telling everybody what you're trying to do. So I think ever since I got married, or even before that, when I got engaged, and I would go to networking events or I would just talk to anybody, that would be part of my pitch of what I do. Tell me about yourself. Oh, I'm trying to do this. That plants the seed in people's minds, so they might not know how to help you with that at the moment. But if they know about it, if something does happen, then they know who to reach out to. It also helps you stay accountable to that goal because you're telling other people about it. So then they're going to ask you how that's going. And that helps you make progress towards that goal and really take it seriously. And then I think the last thing, and we're all doing it, is just making sure you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people who are also on a similar mission, or at least trying to be more mission-driven. Because you can't be it if you can't see it. So another thing that helped me achieve all of this is just having other women in my corner or in my squad that are already doing it. So then I knew it was feasible for me to make it happen as well.
Yeah, and I think community has played a big part for you in making that transition. Can you share briefly about what that has looked like for you? I know you've been a member of the Lady Project for quite some time.
Yeah, so when I was living in New York, I started the New York chapter of the Lady Project, and that always gave me a nice talking point or a connection point for meeting new people and getting them involved in another group. And from there, I've met some really great friends through there. And again, the like-mindedness to where that's helped me network my way into other opportunities, whether it's and directly related to finding work at the financial gym, because I met the head of partnerships there at a networking event. And also how I maintain my consulting clients too is they were all women that I had met previously, and just sort of made a loose connection and stayed in contact with, so I could reach out to them later on.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joy. Yeah, loved having you on to discuss what it means to be mission driven and what it means to redefine work. Where can everyone find you? And I'll share this in the comments as well, but do you want to share quickly where everyone can find you if they want to connect or learn more about you?
Yeah, so my personal website is joyzlu.com, and that is an aggregate of all of my social media places where you can connect with me. Also, thefinancialgym.com if you're interested in some more one-on-one financial training. I could be your trainer. We also have a physical gym location in New York City. So if you're in New York, we host events there. Every week there's tons of events to attend, and you can also go in for one-on-one training at the gym.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I've also included all of that in the chat box, so just make sure to check it out. And also, I think you all have this already, but in case you don't, we have a 3-step process for being more mission driven, so make sure you download that. We're also hosting a leadership and confidence event on Wednesday at Hired Offices, and early bird tickets with code WorkBiggerGuest ends today, so would love for you all to attend if you're around. And lastly, we're going to do another interview like this with Lauren Burke next Friday at 1 p.m. Lauren is a 30 under 30, and she's changing the lives of immigrants in the U.S. And I'm really praying that Facebook Live and Zoom don't give me any issues this time around. So just want to thank you all for your patience, and thank you so much, Joy, just for your time and sharing all of your insights and wisdom. I'm super honored that you're a part of the Work Bigger community and that you're friends, and just so grateful to spend this time with you.
Yeah, you're welcome. This was fun.
Yay. All right. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.